Our moment was caught by the sound of a knock on the door. Darium's face was wrinkled up in a frown as the knock persisted.
"Your Majesty, we have come for the sheet!"
An elderly female voice yelled from outside the door, and my eyes widened as I turned to look at Darium. What did she mean by the sheet? She can't possibly be talking about what I think she is, right? The king sighs, getting up from the bed bare, with no hint of shame, and I find myself admiring the little dimple in his back. What has gotten into me? I shake the thought off my head, getting up from the bed. I wince a little at the soreness between my thighs. I watched as Darium walked back to me, handing me a robe with him already dressed up. He walked over to the door, pushing it open, and 3 elderly women bowed to him and me before walking into the room. I looked away from the bed while the king ripped the bedspread off, handing it over to them. They bowed, taking it from his hands and leaving the room. Your handmaid should be here any moment from now. He says this, brushing his hand over my hair. I will wait for you at the breakfast table. I nod in response, and he leans down, pecking my lips and forehead before leaving the room. I sighed, placing my hand on my cheek to help reduce the redness. Struggling to walk, I moved over to the couch, taking a seat while waiting for Kiva to arrive. Come in. I said this when I heard a knock, and the door pulled open with Kiva walking in. Lady Letitia. She bowed with a smile on her face. I nodded, getting up to my feet, and we proceeded to get me ready. I was given a warm bath with rose petals, which helped soothe the ache I was feeling. After I was done, I was dressed in a red gown, which was absolutely stunning. My face was powdered and my lips tinted, my hair was curled up a little with a little braiding at the back of my hair, and then my crown was placed on my head. I smiled, walking out of the room and heading down the stairs to the dining hall. Good morning, my queen. I smiled, carrying on my way. This was the 10th person to greet me in the span of a minute. When I got to the dining room, the king was already there with the princess and Commander Nico. I took my seat beside the king, admiring his handsome features. He seemed to have freshened up in his old room because he was dressed in a gold and red royal suit. He took a hold of my hand, raised it to his lips, and placed a light kiss on it. Would you look at that, Nico? They have been together all day, yesterday, and yet they can't seem to get enough of each other. Neith teases with a smirk on her face. I am as shocked as you are, Diomev, my love. Nico replied with a grin. What's more surprising is that your brother is acting so unlike him. Are you sure this is the real Darium we know and not a counterfeit? He asked with a playful glint in his eyes. What can I say, Diomev? Neith played along with her husband. This just feels like love. She says it in a sing-song voice. I looked away from them, trying to hide the blush on my face, feeling a little uncomfortable with their teasing. Nico was about to speak, but Darium beat him to it, sending him a glare. I would think twice before speaking unless you want to find yourself thrown out of the palace window. They both laughed, carrying on with their meals. We all ate, talking and laughing amongst each other, with the princess telling Darium and I what the people thought of me after we left the ceremony. Telling me that some were pleased with me, and some still needed a little bit of convincing, and not to give up. After breakfast, the king and Commander Nico left the dining hall for the throne room to attend to the matters of the day, leaving me with Neith, so we both decided to spend time together. We walked out of the dining hall, going towards the garden. I haven't seen Lord Balthazar for days now. He had to attend to some business back in his kingdom. I looked at her, surprised by her answer. I didn't know Lord Balthazar wasn't from Nisha. How did he become friends with the king then? Neith laughed, shaking her head like she was recalling a memory. You will be surprised how. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Our father, King Magnus, always loved carrying Darium around, especially when it came to affairs of the kingdom. No matter how little he was, our father believed he was not too young to learn. It was a way of training Darium, and my brother loved every moment of it, since it meant spending time with our father. It was one of their usual trips to the neighboring kingdom, and this time it was to Silvio. You might not know this since you are new here, but at that time, Nisha and Silvio weren't in a good relationship. There was even talk of war, but our father, who had always been a kind man at heart, was against the idea of war and thought to talk it out. Neith smiles at the memory before continuing with the story, and I sit with ears wide open. Anyway, my brother and father had set out to the Silvio kingdom and had arranged to stay for a week, because they knew it would be difficult to convince the Silvio king to resolve the conflict between the two kingdoms and end the war. Both kings had matters to discuss, which were of course in private, so Darium was excused. Now, I wasn't there, so I don't really know the details, but according to Nico, who was there, Darium and he had gone out to explore the palace and found themselves heading towards the farms. They had been looking at pigs when a small body raced towards them, pushing Darium into the sty, and that little body happened to be poor Zane, who found himself locked in Darium's childish revenge plans. Knowing Darium, I'm sure it would be something dreadful. I chirped, shivering as I imagined what he could have possibly done to Zane. You know my brother all too well. Neith nods. He paid someone to place a bag of worms on Zane's bed to scare the wit out of him. No way. He did, but Zane wasn't the one to be bullied, so they kept going at each other till one day it wasn't just an act for petty revenge, but for fun. They were slowly becoming friends, and now the rest is history. She says this, smiling. I think they also contributed to stopping the war between the two kingdoms, I'm not sure. I'm sure the king of Silvio must have realized after seeing them together that there was no need for war. I guess, Neith replied, shrugging her shoulders. What about you and Nico? I'm surprised that Darium let you get married to a man without a royal status and, more importantly, his good friend. I asked, and she gave me a smile. Believe me, it wasn't easy. When he found out that Nico and I were in love, he went ballistic, not because of his status. We Nisha don't care about that, irrespective of your job, we are all equal. So why was he angry? It was because he felt Nico and I had broken his trust. It almost ruined their relationship. I felt like it was my fault and thought of giving up my love for their friendship, but my lovely husband was able to work it out, and here we are. That's so sweet to hear. I know. There was a short silence before Neith spoke again. We better get inside, it's getting chilly out here. Yes, it is. I agreed, rising to my feet. We walked out of the garden, with Neith saying her farewell as we both went our separate ways. Not having anything else to do, I decided to go to the library and continue with the book I was reading about Nisha history. Kiva and I both walked down the stairs until we got to the hall of the library. I pushed the door open, picked up the book, and then took a seat at the front of the window, opening to the page I left on. By the time I decided to take a rest, the sun was already setting, so I decided to have my dinner here in the library before returning to the chamber for a bath, with Kiva helping me get dressed for bed. I climbed on the bed, the quilt on my body, just as the king walked in. He walked over to me, kissing my cheek. How was your day? I asked with a huge grin on my face. Tiring, he replied, brushing my hair with his hand. What about you? Somewhat fun, I spent half the day with Neith and the other in the library. I giggle, repeating Neith's story. She told me how you and Zane met. Darium smirks, a look of adoration in his eyes. Did she now? Why am I not even surprised? I was the one who asked first. I hadn't seen Zane at the coronation yesterday. I wanted to see if he was all right. Should I be worried that you are concerned about another man who isn't me? I tapped his shoulder, shaking my head at his jealousy. You do know he is a good friend of yours. It doesn't change a thing. I laughed, shaking my head again. You are impossible. Wow, look who has a smart mouth now. He joked, pecking my lips. Our time together was interrupted by a knock at the door. Come in, Darium commands. The door was pushed open, and a huge man in a guard uniform with a scar on his face walked in. He bowed at the two of us, his face free of emotion. Etl RD. Little bird. I want you to meet Kalen. He will be in charge of your protection, following you everywhere. I nodded him with a smile on my face. It's a pleasure to meet you. The pleasure is all mine, Your Majesty. He says this, still with no emotions. It's a great honor to be given the task to guard and protect you, Your Majesty. I wasn't sure what to say, so I gave a nod instead. That will be all then, Kaelin. Darium mutters, dismissing the guard. Yes, my king. With a blink of an eye, Kaelin was out of the room, closing the door behind me. I want to visit the town. I blurted it out to him. I have been here for 2 weeks, yet I still haven't visited the town and seen how the people are. Now that I am queen, I believe I have an obligation to the people, which means interacting with them and seeing how things work here. Darium didn't say anything for a while, like he was thinking about it. Okay then, I can show you around the town, but we have to go the day after tomorrow, because I have a meeting to attend to with the King of Silvio before he hands over the throne to his son, Prince Felix. Thank you. I mumbled out, holding back a yawn as I struggled to keep my eyes open. Get some sleep, Etlardi. Little bird. I found myself complying with his command, my eyes slowly drifting close until I finally fell asleep. When I woke up, the day was already bright, and the spot beside me was empty and cold. I pout, disappointed in not having woken up in Darium's arms. I stifled a yawn, stretching my body a little on the bed, when the door opened and Kiva walked in.
My lady, you are finally awake.
She said it with the brightest smile ever. I looked at her, confused. How long did I sleep? It's already noon.
Lady Letitia.
Noon. I gasped out in shock. Yes, Lady Letitia, the king had asked to let you sleep before leaving for his chancery. Oh, I better get ready then. I get up from the bed, and Kiva immediately springs into action, helping me get dressed. I put on a green light dress, and my hair was put in a bun with strands 2 by each side of my face, curled.
Lady Letitia, you look really beautiful.
Kiva gushed, and I smiled at her. I also felt beautiful. I looked at the mirror one last time, satisfied with my look, before making my way out of the room. Kaelin was already waiting outside the door, his face stony like yesterday. Your Majesty. He bows his head. Hi, Kaelin. I said it cheerfully, hoping to get a reaction from him, but his face remained void. I watched his eyes move away from me, looking at Kiva, who was by my side. His gaze lingered on her for a little bit, and I turned to Kiva to see her face stained red as she shyly stared down. It seems like these two have a crush on each other. I guess it's time to play matchmaker. I laughed inwardly, clearing my throat to get both of their attention. Kiva still had a shy look on her face, and I could have sworn I saw a look of embarrassment on Kaelin's face, but it wiped off before I could even blink an eye. Let's go to the kitchen, I said, walking out of the hallway. Are you planning on making a meal for the king? Kiva asked. I wish I could, but I can't disturb his meetings. But Your Highness should also join the king in these meetings as the queen. I know, but am I really prepared to take on the role? What if I say something wrong or do something bad that would cause embarrassment to the king? I said, not as confident as I was before. I doubt it. My lady is very smart, and I know you would do great in those meetings, Lady Letitia. Kiva counters with absolute sincerity. I smiled, touched by her trust in me. Thank you, Kiva. We continued our journey to the kitchen when we both stopped in our tracks, seeing Tegan standing in front of us, blocking our path. She had a glare on her face, both her hands folded on her chest as she stared in my direction. I rolled my eyes, attempting to pass by her as she moved, blocking my path again. Can we not do this, Tegan? I'm sure you have other things to do than try to pick a fight with me.
You must think you are special now that the king has finally acknowledged you, making you his queen. She lets out a maniacal laugh, her eyes blazing with anger. He is going to get tired of you and come running back to me like he always does. You aren't the first woman to try to take the king from me, and you most likely won't be the last. Funny of you to say, Tegan, seeing as you were nothing but the mistress and would still be if he actually decides to go back to you. That still won't change the fact that I am his wife and the queen of this kingdom. Which also means, you're queen. I say, acting nonchalantly. While you are busy trying to gain the king's affection, I will be here doing my duties as the queen. You bitch. She yelled,
coming after me, but Kaylin was fast enough to stop her. I walked past her, with Kiva and Kaylin beside me, when I felt a hand dragging me back until I landed hard on the floor. Lady Letitia. Your Majesty. Kiva and Kaylin both yelled at the same time, rushing to my side. Oops, my bad. Tegan said it with no hint of remorse. Are you okay, Your Majesty? Kaylin asked as Kiva tried to help me up. I winced, falling on Kiva. We both looked at my left foot to know I had already sprained it. Kaylin immediately grabbed a hold of Tegan, and she screeched, trying to fight her way out of his hold. Let her go, Kaylin, I don't want to complicate the matter any longer. I apologize, but I can't do that. Your Majesty, I have failed to protect you, and now you are hurt. He said it, his head cast down in shame. It's not your fault, you had no idea she was going to do something like this. I should have been prepared to stop any attack from coming close to you. I failed at protecting you on my first day of duty. Like I said before, Kaylin, it's not your fault. I tried to reason with him, but the huge man was still adamant to listen, with guilt on his face. Lady Letitia, let me take you back to the room. Kiva says, wrapping my hand around her shoulder as she lifts me up. I winced at the pain in my sprained ankle, putting most of my weight on Kiva. You! Kaylin yelled, calling out to a guard that was stationed at the entrance of the hall. Yes, Commander Matthew. The guard greeted me, turning to bow at me. Take her to the dungeon. Colleen, there is no need to drag the matter out. Let her go. I'm sorry, Your Highness, but her behavior was an active threat to you, and a threat to you is a risk on the throne. Don't blame it on me, I just pushed her lightly. How was I supposed to know she was too weak and would end up falling on the ground? Tegan spat, rolling her eyes. She didn't seem at all scared to be sent to the dungeon. If a queen is too weak, then she isn't fit to be one, especially someone like her. Take her away as she awaits the punishment of the king. The guard nods, dragging Tegan out of the hall, and she keeps on screaming for him to let her go. Let's go, Lady Letitia. I sighed, holding on to Kiva as I limped my way back to my chamber, with Kaylin following behind us. When we got back to the room, Kiva helped me get to bed, gently placing me on it before letting my sprained leg up and riding it on the pillow. I will go get the royal healer. Will Your Highness be okay by yourself? I nod, and she sprints out of the room, with Kaylin guarding the door. I exhaled, resting my back on the bedboard, wondering what was going to happen to Tegan after today. I couldn't help but remember the look of confidence she had, like she was sure she was going to come out of this unscathed. It was something worth unsettling. The door pushed open, and Kiva walked in again. This time she was with a young female, the same age as the princess. Your Highness. She greets. I'm Maya. I am a healer and in charge of the royal women. I gave her a smile as she began doing her work. She inspected the injury before applying a balm to it and wrapping it up with a white cloth. I suggest you rest. I will be back tomorrow to check on the leg, Maya says as she was done treating it. Thankfully, it's a minor sprain, and it should be healed in a week. When she was done, she excused herself and left the room. Would Your Highness like for me to bring a book from the library to quench your boredom? Kiva asked, and I smiled. I would like that very much, Kiva. She nodded, setting out for the door when I called her back. Kiva. Yes, Lady Letitia. Can the king not be told about this till after his meeting? She looked at me, confused and wary. But Your Highness. Please, he has other matters to attend to. Besides, Maya said it was a minor sprain. I reasoned with her. She glanced at me, conflicted, not sure what to do before speaking. Very well, Lady Letitia, I will let Commander Kaylin know of your decision. Thank you, I muttered, watching her leave the room. When the door pushed open, I was expecting to see Kiva standing there, but instead it was the king with a worried look on his face. Kaylin was standing behind him, his head cast down. Are you okay, Letitia? He asked, taking a step toward me. I am fine, Darium. Maya was here to check on it, and she said the same thing. I told him cheerfully, hoping to get rid of the worry on his face, but it just deepened even more. He looked at my bandaged leg with his hand in a fist, and his jaw clenched. "I will be back. Darium." I called back to his retreating back. "What do you plan on doing?" "Do well to protect her this time." He said this to Kaylin, leaving the room. I breathed out. Worry filled me up at the thought of him doing something bad to her. As much as I didn't like a single bone in Tegan's body, I didn't wish for her to get hurt. I looked over at Kaylin, who hadn't moved a muscle from his spot and refused to glance in my direction. I knew that despite my words, he still blamed himself for what had happened. Darium walked in again, dismissing Kaylin of his duties, and he bowed and left the room. "What did you do to her?" I asked, but he once again ignored me. "Did you hurt her?" He sat on the bed beside me, still not saying anything. "Darium, how can you possibly care about her when she doesn't give a damn about you? She isn't someone on whom you can waste your pity." His jaw was clenched. If she was given the opportunity to do this again, she would have gladly done so. "Maybe this time, make sure you were seriously hurt." Everything he had said was the truth, and I knew it. I decided not to ask him about it again since he was still pissed. I will be reminding Kaylin of his duties. It wasn't his fault, Darium. He was able to stop Tegan's first attack. He had no idea she would try to hurt me. He looked at me, confused and pissed. "You have only been with him for a day, and here you are defending him." His tone sounded bitter. "Don't tell me you are jealous," I asked, holding back my smile. "And if I am, what would you do about it?" His admission caught me off guard, as I was expecting him to deny my claim. I leaned close to him, pecking his lips. "You know you have to do better than that, Letitia." He says it teasingly. Wrapping my hands around his neck, I pulled him closer to me, locking my lips with his. Darium wasted no time kissing me back. The kiss started off slow, but soon turned hungry and rough. I moaned into the kiss, and his hand grabbed my dress, undoing the tie. His lips left mine, and he slipped off my dress and undergarments. He wants to kiss my lips, neck, and all over my body. "Promise you won't change my guard," I said, causing him to stop his assault. "Are you really talking about this now?" he asked, and his breath fanned my neck. "Promise," I say adamantly. "Fine, Letitia, I promise." He grumbles out, "You, my dear, are one corny woman." He says this, placing wet kisses all over my body. The kiss started off slow, but soon turned hungry and rough. I moaned into the kiss, and his hand grabbed my dress, undoing the tie. His lips left mine, and he slipped off my dress and undergarments. He wants to kiss my lips, neck, and all over my body. "Promise you won't change my guard," I said, causing him to stop his assault. "Are you really talking about this now?" he asked, and his breath fanned my neck. "Promise," I say adamantly. "Fine, Letitia, I promise." He grumbles out. "You, my dear, are one corny woman." He says this, placing wet kisses all over my body. My hands roam all over Darium's shoulders and down his well-built arms as he explores my neck. I whimper, wanting to feel him in me. He smirks, clearly aware of my need for him. He got out of his clothes, and once again I was amazed by his size, and engulfed me as his body warmed mine. His hand was around my waist, holding me tightly. After what we shared yesterday, we both got dressed for dinner just to come back and get rid of our clothes. I don't know how long we went for, but we kept going at it all night. He took on so many different roles and positions. Positions I had no idea I could fit into. I knew we cared for each other, but last night left me feeling conflicted the next morning. My mind swirled with thoughts of what we shared. Was it love? Was that why he took his time yesterday, or was it my imagination and everything was just pure lust? I was snapped out of my thoughts by Darium speaking beside me. "I think it's best we skip today's visit to the town." "What?" "No," I cried out. "I can still go." "Letitia, you are hurt." How do you expect to walk around the town with your sprained legs? Darium questioned me, and my lips cast down in a pout.
It doesn't hurt again,
I said. Maya already came to check this morning, and she said it was healing perfectly well. He got off the bed, walked over to my side to pull me up, and I winced, sitting right back on the bed. See, you aren't better yet. He points it out.
Darium. We can always go another time, Letitia. Hopefully when your leg is all better, but for now, no.
He says it sternly, leaving no room for discussion. He got back to the bed, dragging my body to his. His hands found their way back to my waist. Turn that frown into a smile. You have me here, keeping you company. I pouted like a child, keeping my back to him.
You leave me no choice.
He says this, spinning me around so that my back was resting on the bed and his body hovered over mine. He started placing wet kisses over the sensitive parts of my skin, and I laughed at how tickling it felt.
Stop it, Darium.
I said it in between laughs, trying to push his body away from mine.
Oh, I finally got your attention now. Haven't I?
He says it teasingly as he continues to kiss me.
Okay. I'm not angry anymore.
Promise. Promise. I answered, and we both started laughing. He kissed me again, moving from my neck to my lips. The kiss was rough and hungry, both of us fought for dominance, and of course Darium won as always. The kiss continued to build, and we started to kiss each other like we hadn't seen each other for years. I gripped onto his arms, which was rested on my cheek. He pulled away, allowing us to catch our breath before claiming my lips again. This time the kiss was slower. I put my hand on his hair, grabbing it as he grinds his hips on mine. The knock on the door caught our attention, breaking us apart from the moment we were having. Darium growled, mumbling something inaudible before getting off of me and walking over to the door. He pushed open the door to see Kaylin standing there. They spoke for a while before he closed the door.
I apologize, but we have to stop here, dear. I am afraid my mother is back from her trip and wishes to have lunch with us. She has been eager to meet you and won't rest till she sees you.
He said this, pecking me on the lips. Kiva should be here to help you get ready. I will be at the dining hall to stop my mother from rushing here herself. I won't put it past her. He said this before leaving. It wasn't a second after the king left that Kiva walked in, helping me get ready. I changed into another dress, and my hair was tied up with my crown on it. I walked out of the room to the dining hall to see Darium at the head of the table with a woman beside him. She was truly beautiful. I can see where the king got his handsome features. He had the same hair color as his mother and a similar cheekbone. Her eyes were crystal blue, reminding me of the ocean. Both their attentions were on me as I walked over to where they sat. I bowed my head to greet the formal queen, but she grabbed a hold of my chin, pulling it up. I was caught off guard when she hugged me, patting my back in a motherly way.
S.A. alert, Lufituabe, Darium. She is truly beautiful, Darium.
She compliments me with a smile on her face.
Not you, oh, Queen Vasiliki. Thank you, Queen Vasiliki.
She gasped, looking shocked at me, and her smile widened. I didn't know you understood and spoke in our dialect. You have fully become one of us. Queen Vasiliki gushed. We all took our seats. Queen Vasiliki and I sat opposite each other. The food was served, and Darium grabbed my plate, putting some food on it before giving me a comforting smile. We began eating, and Darium and his mother talked amongst themselves as he asked about her trip while she asked about him and Neith. We were at the last piece of our food, and the maids gathered around to take out the plates and tidy up the table. Letitia, I'm sorry to have missed your coronation. It was nerve-wracking for me not to be there, but I had other pressing matters to attend to. I understand, Queen Vasiliki.
We are family now, Letitia. You can call me Mother,
she said, her eyes held warmth.
Yes, Mother. Now that we are past that, when will I be expecting the news of an heir?
I choked on my spit, coughing repeatedly, and Darium got up from his feet, handing me a cup of water as he patted my back.
Mother, I would appreciate it if you didn't say things like that,
he reprimanded. I felt my cheek turn crimson red as she had no shame in asking Darium and me about our private lives. We only consummated our marriage a few days ago, and yet she seems eager to hear the news about a possible heir. I haven't even had time to think about it, nor have the king and I discussed having a child together. Of course, it was tradition for us to produce an heir a few months after our union, and the thought of having a child of my own was pleasing to me, but would I be able to care for him or her when I knew absolutely nothing about being a mother?
It's not like I am asking you to produce an heir this very instant. I just want to know when I will carry my grandchildren before my time comes.
She said this, batting her eyes at the king, acting innocently. Darium rolled his eyes, not falling for her act. You already have a grandchild. He points it out, referring to Neith and Nico's 2-year-old daughter. I know, but I hope to see yours before death comes knocking at my door. She says it cheekily.
Will you stop the talk of you possibly dying?
You and I both know it's not happening anything soon. He groans out. You are too stubborn to die, mother. She pouts, turning to face me instead of the king. What do you think, Letitia? Mother. Darium and I will work on it, you don't have to worry about it. I cut the king off, placing my hand on his. Queen Basiliki's lips stretched in a breathy smile, her eyes filled with joy. This is why they say daughters are the best, my son is just too stubborn for his own good.
I wonder where I got it from.
Darium mumbles, and we all laugh. After our lunch, Queen Basiliki and I spent some more time together as the king left to handle official matters.
I heard about what Tegan did.
She said this, referring to my sprained knees as we sat in the garden. I never really liked her, and I knew my son didn't either. She kept trying to put herself into Darium's life, hoping to be his wife. It was a good decision to marry you instead of her. Even though we are 2 tribes apart.
Dynasty has nothing to do with this.
She bashed. At first I was doubtful about the idea of a marriage between both kingdoms, but not anymore. Neith had made sure to tell me so many nice things about you, and so has Darium. That says a lot, seeing as both my children are too hard to please. Tears filled my eyes at her words and acceptance.
This is the first time I have ever felt welcomed. It means a lot.
You are a part of us now, Letitia, you are family now. Queen of the Nisha, you are always welcomed here. So raise your head high and stand tall.